Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to JoyNews Today. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle. We're on DTT because we're free to on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 125. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, coalition of Ladadekotopon associations call for an independent audit into government's redevelopment of prime state lands across the Greater Accra region. More as JoyNews checks show that the residence of the late Supreme Court Justice Marful-Sau remains inhabitable after Works and Housing Ministry denied claims of colluding with the former Chief Justice Enimi Aboa to sell the land. Also, residents of Samra expressed shock at the devastating impact of illegal mining following the community's viewing of JoyNews' Poison for Gold documentary. We have details from that collaboration between the Multimedia Group and the United States Agency for Global Media. Plus, girls face 6 times higher risk of contracting HIV/AIDS compared to their male counterparts. That's a warning from health experts as they advocate early testing and healthy lifestyles to check the increasing prevalence of cases among teenagers.
The risk of adolescent girls to contract HIV is pretty much 6 times higher than the equivalent of age of the male adolescent.
The Ghana AIDS Commission says the nation risk losing its human resources if nothing is done about it. In politics, NDC begins the compilation of data on stalled projects across the country with the hope of completing them if voted into power. And Ghanaians doubt the ability of Black Stars to end the country's 42-year-old trophy drought. More after their disappointing performance in their match with Cape Verde. We'll also touch base with Joy Sports' Muftau Nabila, who is in Abidjan, covering the matches for us. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. We're also live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X Spaces via JoyNews on TV. My personal handle is @Denana Aisha. Please do stay for details. JoyNews through the VOA and the United States Agency for Global Media has been engaging residents of Samra in the western region on the health effects of illegal mining. Some who were watching the documentary for the first time expressed shock at the devastating impact of galamsey on public health highlighted in the JoyNews expose. Many expressed shock at the health impact of illegal mining captured in the documentary. The program marked the commencement of the Poison for Gold community tour, which is part of the USAGM media project on nature crimes in Ghana, supported by the U.S. Department of State Bureau of Oceans and International Environmental and Scientific Affairs Office of Conservation and Water.
God, I'm saying no more. So before saying anything about Chrome Hanum, so follow Sada Hanum. So on animal on to me and follow cinema in ye.
Into the Martian Hanum, and I'm in what dreaming. Nana be a shazia, ama abusabaya 500. I am what say you cocoa in
the Bisane say, there be a sick galam saying, ye manabani and what toy. Ye be a hey, ye want to yana.
Hi, my name is Erastus Asaridonko. This is the Poison for Gold community tour. Welcome to Samra. Well, Samra because we captured many of the devastation caused by irresponsible mining in this town. And this is where we found many of the illegal miners sitting directly in the Tunnel River and polluting it. We also found people who have gotten sick, and when we investigated, we found a link between their ailments and irresponsible mining.
Enne mehuni eburu ma adwen ne mente ase so esan se sanki nya ne se ya etoa so be se bia bosome mienu ana bibia to saa nchekire wo yi a ke bia nka galamsey ne sha ase wo samra bo ha no na senya yensu asisi asesei ene ekoko ne nema asisi asesei no me nyi ntum senka ebekoso saa
ya manum me mane ade ya manum bebre ahohoro awu ni enim se saa nema wo ya bebre nso yale enim se saa de we na eden ekoso di si am behwe saa de we de nyame ani to nyina me kra wura ho ti si ankwa bebre nko school galamsey ni nti nya de ono wa na da ajimpo bebre so sesen galamsey no kwa di so of the nronuo ne ade na ade de o ma ho ode nya ade asa o mo ne ahodom de ya adwuma.
We are all in this country. We know the powers that our traditional rulers hold. But as we speak now, because of galamsey and its issues, the authority that they are supposed to hold has diminished.
Dwumadia mu ne ebedi ye die. Mo boy papa. Ye time mu hunu fo ye nim se sa galamsey police so so bone ebreye. Titu yan abatan no. Jase edi ye nya ma ye makura ye nya nwo won kura no.
It's been a fantastic engagement, the first stop of the Poison for Gold community tour. Thank you very much to the Voice of America, the United States Agency for Global Media, and thank you to all the multimedia groups and the local stations. My name is Erastus Asaredonko. I report for the multimedia group. This is me signing out from Samra Boy Poison for Gold community tour. Thank you very much.
Well, illegal miners have cut down vegetation covering more than 40 acres of land in the Anyaso-Bibiani municipality of the Western North region. The vast amount of space comparable to 30 football fields included several farmlands in the Aboabo community, the Anyaso River, and portions of the Anyaso East Forest Reserve. Residents of the Aboabo community are, however, unperturbed by the destruction as they are ready to trade more farmlands to the miners. Clinton Yeboah visited the municipality and now reports.
The unlawful mining activities in many areas in the country, especially in the Ashanti and the western regions, continue to wreak havoc on land, forest reserves and water bodies in mining communities. Trees have been felled, cocoa farms and important economic crops have been cleared, either illegally or willingly, by farmers for galamsey to thrive. At Aboabo, a small farming community in the Anyaso enclave, illegal miners have subdued farmlands spanning several acres. The Anyaso East Forest Reserve, which is one of 8 forest reserves in the Anyaso-Bibiani municipality, have also seen portions intruded by illegal miners in the quest for gold. The Aboabo River and Aframpie River have been heavily impacted. The Aboabo River, which leads to the Ankobra River, has been blocked to supply water for the illegal mining activities. Despite the intervention by the Rapid Response Team of the Forest Commission in 2019, the situation persists as farmers and community members connive with illegal miners to harm the forests.
Where I am standing currently, we understand is supposed to be a cocoa farm and a plantain farm, but currently has been cleared to create this galamsey site. We understand that behind these 2 sinkholes is a river that has been blocked to store the water so that the galamseyers or the miners who come here to mine would use it for their washing. The sad part of it is that the youth are divided as to whether this is beneficial or not. Some are defending that if the activities of galamsey here would generate them revenue, doesn't matter if a small stream is blocked.
Theophilus Kofi, a resident, says the community is willing to lease all lands for illegal miners.
I work on Bikra, this Abuya, as is a beginning panasa at a clinic.
The government doesn't help us. If a galamsey will listen to us, then we will give him the land. It has helped us to get jobs and maintained calmness in this community. Even if government wants to extend the mining to other areas, we are in support of it. Some political leaders in the area are alleged to be owning illegal mining sites. Christopher Ajedu, who is ready to resist attempts to restore the wreckage, says the galamseyers obtained the lands lawfully. They did not illegally acquire these lands. They come into some agreements. Owners have assessed and they are okay with the agreement. The owner of this land, which is now a site, has bought his car. He agreed to it. Whilst their resistance has been fierce, some concerned community members are appalled by the looming health and environmental hazards of illegal mining. Chem Samuel, a farmer in the Abuabo community, observed that strong political hands make the fight against illegal miners difficult. He is therefore appealing to the Minerals Commission and anti-galamsey institutions to intensify measures to curb the menace in the Anwiaso enclave.
As a good citizen, I'm just calling upon the government to come and help us, because I hope the pictures and the videos there, the machines which are parked there, and you saw how the guys were even trying to attack me at the site. You all know, because somebody have sent them. They even told me for this one it will not go anywhere because they know where they are coming from. And I'm just a poor guy. Even I don't have money for my schooling, neither can I fight those people. They are mentioning names. So I'm urging the governments to come in to fight for us.
Municipal Chief Executive Paul Ando, however, believes the authorities in the municipality have been proactive in the fight against illegal mining. He says lack of jobs and quest for development should not be an excuse for the devastating of lands, forests and water bodies through illegal mining.
So I quickly liaised with my commanders, DMC, that is the District Mining Committee. I think they went there and nobody was seen at the site. But as on their way coming, 4 excavators was gathered at a specific community. And through their investigation, they are yet to find out actually who owned the fact that the assembly or the government is not holding to their effort. It doesn't necessarily call for illegal mining, because we cannot say actually we are hungry so that we can use our both hands to eat.
So far, over 14 regions in this country are suffering from the devastation of illegal mining. One can also realize how underdevelopment and unemployment are tied to the illegal mining activities in this country. But from the Municipal Chief Executive of BBNE municipality, a hungry man is not supposed to eat with 2 hands. As to what update would be coming, we'll be on grounds to report. From BBNE, my name is Clinton Yabua for Joy News.
JoyNews checks have revealed that the residence of the late Superior Court Justice Marful-Sau remains inhabitable. A statement from the Works and Housing Ministry denied claims of colluding with the former Chief Justice Enemi to sell the lands. Instead, the government says it is carrying out a redevelopment program of prime government lands under a policy which dates back to 1992. JoyNews' Blaise Sogan visited the redeveloped property, which, when completed, will serve as a residential facility for ministers of state, workers of the judicial service, and other government officials.
This very property you see in your shots now used to house the late former Superior Court Justice Marful-Sau. The government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Works and Housing, is denying the claim that this very property has been handed over to a private developer for personal use. Instead, the government says it is part of its redevelopment program that is targeted at prime lands within the Greater Accra region for optimum use that will now house, upon completion, senior government officials, members of the judiciary and other government officials. I want you to come with me as we explore what's in this very building and also take a look at what's in here for you. So if you come into the facility, you would see clearly that the facility is now housing a number of units, and of course, as you can see in your shots now, there are so many buildings now in this property which only used to serve as one residence for one government or judicial service staff. And it's the reason for which many are lauding this initiative but asking government to take a number of steps that will ensure the optimum use of this property. Let's speak to one man who serves as the local leader for the area, the assembly member for the area. Good afternoon to you. You're speaking to us on JoyNews. Your name, sir?
My name is Honorable Adam Yusuf, Assembly Member for Roman Ridge Electoral Area.
I see, which means that you know this area too well. Describe this property we are seeing now to us. We understand that it used to house only one building.
Okay, yeah, it's true. In fact, this particular property here is like an acre of land. We used to house about one property, one tenant, and that tenant was a prison officer. And then now, as you can see, we have about 6 units property here, which can house about 3 directors from the same unit or from a different government unit, and which is laudable because the land size of this area over the years was like an acre, but you have a single house, a very small tiny house in the building. But now if it's redeveloped, I mean, you can take more people, yeah. Unlike other places, it takes about 8, but this one is a single unit.
Wow, and I see that there are a lot of developments. In fact, we understand that a former Justice of the Superior Court used to be here, the late Marful-Sau. So just describe to us what used to happen. So you have just one person living in this large vast area of land. Is that the case?
Yes, that's absolutely true. It used to be one person, and then over the years there were only hedges around, and one boys' cottage, and then some trees around. I mean, occupying so much space. And then now that it's been redeveloped, it's housing about 6 different units, and which is laudable. And then we recommend that most of the other remaining plots of land, which is housing one particular house for a director or a minister, should be converted to take about 6 or 7 officers, because I mean the land is reducing and the officers are still coming in more.
I see. In fact, the area where you serve as the assembly member, we know that there are lots of civil servants in this area, so you would definitely be in need of these facilities, correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. We have a lot of civil servants here, including ministers. In fact, Roman Ridge used to house a lot of the ministers, the state ministers. We have chief directors, works and housing, estate officers, and then we have doctors, lawyers, and we even have a judiciary apartment at the other side of the area. And then Ghana Water Company too, they also have their directors in the area. A whole lot. I mean, yeah, we have a non-formal education unit also in the area. So, I mean, education unit too, they have their apartment.
And all these people used to look for places.
Places, and as it stands now, even Ayawaso West Municipal Assembly, some of our directors, when they retransfer them to the municipal assembly, we don't have houses for them. We have to, I remember one coordinating director, even our current coordinating director is not having a residence. We have
so this would help, definitely.
This thing will really help.
Except that you fear that it shouldn't go into private hands.
That is our fear, because as you can see at the other side, we have a lot of private developers also pursuing to grab those properties from the state. And to me, I don't advise that the state should lose it to the private developer, because they will in turn use it for business and make millions of dollars out of the business, whilst the state officials will be struggling to understand. They will stay far away at Nsawam and then Eburi to come to work at the ministry, which is not good. So to me, I would advise that probably majority of the space left should be given to the government officials. They should redevelop it, have more housing units so that you can take more of the state officials.
Is there any final message you have for government on this redevelopment?
Okay, to me, government should take seriousness in the state lands. They shouldn't allow it to go into the private hands totally. I mean, they should have majority of control of the houses. I mean, if you look at the other side of the area, we have Goyle head office also coming into the area. They can use some of those properties to also build state houses or state institutions. I also work municipal assembly, for instance. We need a very big space to put up our municipal assembly. And as it stands now, where we are getting is a limited space. So we entreat those like working in housing not to allow private developers to take charge of all the state lands, leaving the state institution. And probably the assembly member too, for the area, they should try and then get a housing for the person. Because to me, I'm living in a rented place in the area, even though I'm the assemblyman working for the state. Yes.
So something should come to you. You should also
definitely, I should have housing so that everybody, not me, maybe future assembly member will know that he has a place, and the people in the area will know that this is where our assemblyman is. Anytime we need him, that's where we can go and get him.
Honorable, we're grateful for your time. And so this is giving you a sense of the property. Probably for many of you who are not aware of this place, it's right within Roman Reach, and the work is still ongoing because you can hear, of course, some carpentry work still underway here within this facility, which will now, upon completion, serve as the residence of senior government officials, of ministers, and some judicial staff members. This is the facility that government says is earmarking, not just this, but those at Laboni, Cantonment, and across parts of the Greater Accra region that will serve as that government's redevelopment project to optimally use government properties across the country. Blessed Sugan reporting for Joy News, Roman Reach, Accra.
But what does the country's law say about the state lands and redevelopment? There's more in the following News Desk report.
Ghana's constitution under Article 20 Clause 5 mandates that lands acquired by the government should serve public interest or their intended purpose. Additionally, Clause 6 grants previous landowners the first option to reclaim property not used as initially intended. Back in 1998, the government initiated an urban renewal program focusing on the redevelopment of government residential properties. The primary goal was to replace old structures with modern homes on existing plots, aiming to minimize additional infrastructure costs. Iconic areas which were mostly previously occupied by senior government officials like Cantonments, Airport, Kanda, Switchback, and Ridge were earmarked for transformation. The Accra Redevelopment Scheme, a significant undertaking, gained cabinet approval in 2000. Operating as a public-private sector partnership, this move introduced a novel bidding system to shape the selection process for applicants and developers. However, during the phase 2 of the project in 2003, allegations surfaced regarding procedural deviations. Since then, irrespective of the political party in power, accusations have been persistent, suggesting that prime lands were being shared with associates and favorites. Questions arise about how transparent and fair the program is, and if it truly serves the public interest. The complexity of the program raises concerns, highlighting the importance of a closer examination to ensure fairness and accountability.
Data available to UNICEF shows that a lot more teenagers, particularly girls, are increasingly contracting HIV and AIDS infections in West and Central Africa as compared to other parts of the world. Speaking to the Global AIDS Monitoring and UN AIDS 2022 report, UNICEF Chief of Health Alexander Boone said the situation could be attributed to many factors, including the myriad of challenges confronting the sub-region. He spoke with JoyNews' Emefa Atiamo Eli in an interview in Lome.
Sharing details of the data with members of the African Media Network for the Promotion of Health and Environment, REMAPSEN, at a workshop in Lome, UNICEF's Chief of Health in Africa, Alexander Boone, said despite advances in recent years, particularly in reducing HIV transmission from mother to child, attention and support for children and adolescents living with HIV remains insufficient. Alexander believes this is among the myriad of other factors aggravating the prevalence of cases, particularly among adolescent girls in Africa. He said girls are at a greater risk of contracting new infections compared to boys.
In some countries where the incidence and the prevalence of HIV is on the rise, we have noticed that, unfortunately, the majority of newly infected people were among adolescents and particularly adolescent girls. And as we showed it on the graphic, the risk of adolescent girls to contract HIV is pretty much 6 times higher than the equivalent of age of the male adolescent. And that is probably related to many things and many circumstances or behaviors or either social related to poverty, perhaps related to the circumstances where these adolescents live.
Also among the regional challenges compounding the threat to adolescent health include limited engagement of community health workers in HIV and AIDS service delivery, as well as low availability of adolescent and youth-friendly health services in countries recording higher figures. According to the Global AIDS Monitoring and UN AIDS 2022 estimates, West and Central Africa is one of the regions in the world where children and adolescents are most affected by HIV, putting them just behind East and Southern Africa.
We know that girls in general are much more sensitive to sexual transmitted infection, including HIV, than boys. The intergenerational sex is also one of the contributing factors. When a young adolescent or an adolescent girl gets into sexual intercourses with older men, there is a higher risk of transmission as well of sexually transmitted infections, including HIV.
According to the report, prevention of mother-to-child transmission has remained at 65% coverage on the region since 2017. 7 out of 10 children don't have access to HIV treatment in West and Central Africa. Pediatric treatment coverage is at a low 35% compared to 73% for adults. Also, there's been only 25% coverage for early childhood diagnosis, with 3 out of 10 children born to HIV-positive mothers tested before their first 2 months of life. Regarding early diagnosis of HIV in infants, Ghana is among 8 countries to achieve above regional average of 25%, well below the target of 95% in the continent. In a clarion call to action, UNICEF enjoins all and sundry to accelerate the pace towards an AIDS-free generation in West and Southern Africa. The Children-Centered Humanitarian Organization believes eradicating AIDS starts with children. Each country must do everything possible to create a world in which children and adolescents are assured of getting the support they need to fight HIV and AIDS, so we can deliver on our collective promise to enable an AIDS-free generation by 2030. Emefa Ewenam Atiamwa Ellis reports for Joy News. Lomé.
Well, Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Ahene, says the country risks losing its human resources to HIV/AIDS if nothing is done about the increasing rate of HIV/AIDS infections. Dr. Twine was reacting to the Global AIDS Monitoring and UN AIDS 2022 report, which says girls are 6 times at risk of getting infected with HIV/AIDS virus. Dr. Ahene is urging the public to be vigilant and live a responsible lifestyle to avoid contracting the virus. He spoke earlier on News Desk.
Receptive sex is generally riskier than insertive sex. So whether it is vaginal or anal sex, the receptive partner is more at risk to infection than the insertive partner. And this is because they raise greater mucous area in the woman which is exposed to HIV during penile vaginal intercourse. And if there should be any breach or tear of the vaginal mucosa or anal mucosa, which is relatively thin, there definitely will be an increased risk or likelihood of HIV infection in the woman or the receptive partner if they happen to be a man. And so if this occurs, then we see that is one of the risk factors. Then if there should be untreated sexually transmitted disease, and of course in humans, it takes a long time for them to see whether they have any symptoms of sexually transmitted infection. And so if it is untreated for a long time, especially the untreated ones, it increases the risk of the woman or the girl becoming infected if exposed to HIV. My advice just to the young people is that it's not everything we see on the internet that is wholesome for us, that we should also experiment or practice. We should take our lives into our own hands and ensure that we live healthy lives and productive lives. And so sexual activity getting into
Dr. Twain wants the government and well-meaning Ghanaians to support the commission to be able to reach out to more people in order to deal with the situation.
The scale of the services that we need to provide. For example, if we do not have adequate funding to provide the combination prevention services to people who need them, then it becomes a challenge. Number two is that we have, because of stigma and discrimination associated with HIV, and of course, as we are talking about young people, when it comes to HIV and reproductive health in general, there is some stigma related to young people because we expect that they should not be sexually active. And if they are sexually active and having unprotected sex, getting pregnant, and also getting sexually infected infections, sexually transmitted infections like HIV and others, then we tend to stigmatize them both in the community and in the home, and also the health facilities. And this is an area that we all have to work together to ensure that we do not stigmatize young people, especially in the health facilities.
The National Democratic Congress has commenced a compilation of stalled projects across the country. Completion of these projects will remain key on the agenda of the NDC government if successful in the coming elections. Flag bearer John Mahama says the resources found in government coffers after assuming power will be channeled towards these projects. Nana Ojima toured the Volta region with the former president and has come through with this report.
Calls for completion of stalled projects in various parts of the country have become repetitive on the Building Ghana tour of the NDC. In the party's stronghold, the Volta region, the National House of Chiefs was among groups to make the call. Vice President of the House, Togbe Patamiajekle VII, drew the attention of John Mahama to the stalled Eastern Corridor Road, started under his administration.
During your tenure as president of this country, the Eastern Corridor was always on the agenda. Unfortunately, we were not able to complete it to make travel from one end of the region to the other. The question I would like to put to you is, what will happen if I assume the mantle of power come next year?
Earlier at a stakeholder meeting, the NDC flag bearer expressed dissatisfaction over government's decision to start new projects as many remain stalled across the country.
It's not only in the Volta region, it's all over the country. All the projects that they inherited, they have abandoned. And they themselves have started projects that they know they cannot complete. And yet, instead of finishing the abandoned projects and ongoing projects, They've started new projects, Agenda 111. Some of them are at foundation level, some they've raised the block work, but they know that they cannot finish it before they leave. So what they'll do is they'll just push it on to somebody else and say, oh, we started this and you came and you've abandoned it. But look at the mess you've created. Where are we going to get money to finish all those projects? But I have pledged that we would restrain ourselves from starting new projects. Whatever little resources that we come and meet, we will send it into completing the ongoing and abandoned projects. And so I was talking to our General Secretary, and I said we wanted our party executives and our organizers to start constituency by constituency, identifying abandoned projects in your constituencies.
We're still live on JoyNews Today. We're coming to you from our studios in Kokomlimle. Let's take a break. We'll return this business.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The International Monetary Fund has rescheduled its board meeting on Ghana to this Friday, February 19. Georgia Affairs more what has resulted in the fund taking this decision despite the country reaching a deal with its external creditors.
Executive Board of the IMF should have met this Thursday, January 18, 2024. However, Joy Business is learning that some of the Executive Board members have made a case for the meeting to be pushed a day forward. This is to give them more time to review Ghana's documents submitted by the IMF staff. Therefore, the change in date has nothing to do with Ghana not meeting the conditions for the board to meet on its program or concerns about the deal reached with its creditors. We also understand that the executive board members need at least 3 days to review the country's documents, and since Monday is a holiday in USA, the pushback was necessary. This is because the holiday would mean that the mandatory 3 days will be cut by a day. Sources close to the fund have told Joy Business that everything is in place for the executive board to meet and carry out Ghana's first review under the fund program this Friday. This should mean that by next Wednesday, about $600 million should hit Bank of Ghana's account. That is, if the country is able to pass this first review by the IMF on how it has fared under the fund program.
In other news, Executive Chairman of the First Sky Group, Eric Sedi-Kutache, has underscored his company's commitment to providing the youth in Ghana with sustainable income. According to him, despite the economic challenges faced by businesses in 2023, the company recorded unprecedented growth. He was speaking at the 21st anniversary and Thanksgiving service of the group.
The First Sky Group is a Ghanaian-owned entity comprising subsidiaries with interests in hospitality, construction, insurance, banking, and other sectors with over 4,000 employees. The company, through its corporate social responsibility, has supported some kidney patients at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital with free dialysis amounting to 33 million cedis. Speaking at a Thanksgiving service, founder and executive chairman of the group, Eric Sedi-Kutache, said the company has been resilient despite the economic challenges in the past year.
The year 2023 was not favorable globally for business. Some business collapsed. Others saw very minimal growth. But for the mercies of God, our business was sustained and then saw unprecedented growth. God is indeed a faithful God. One will observe that for us at the First Sky Group, the critical ingredient responsible for our existence and growth has been abundance of grace and love of God, fashioning in us to break new grounds, turn fallow fields into profitable experience, and lead the corporate entrepreneurial narrative in job and the wealth creation through employment, innovative solutions, and hard work. Mr. Chairman, 2024 is an interesting year for us as Ghanaians, both within the country and the diaspora. We acknowledge the simple reason we will be going to the polls in December for our general election. Let us with resolute energies, firm efforts, fortitude, and purpose preserve our collective peace.
Chairman of the occasion, Reverend Dr. Stephen Yenisom Wengam, commended the group for its resolve to maintain its employees and provide a lot of youth with jobs even in difficult times.
And in an era when many companies are folding up and laying off workers, because of your love for humanity, you have bent over and kept this huge number on your payroll. And I want to advise the staff of First Sky Group that it is not a right to be employed. You know, sometimes in our part of the world, we have a sense of entitlement. When people want jobs, they come with a certain sense of humility, and then when they have the job, then they begin to behave as if it is their right to be employed. It is not a right to be employed. If you have a job today, it is not a right. It is the grace of God and the magnanimity of employers who bend over to keep you in job.
The First Sky Group is currently undertaking a project to build a kidney transplant center at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
And that's it for this segment. The news continues after the break.
Let's do sports on JN Today. My name is Harun Mubarak. Now, Ghana head coach Chris Hilton expresses disappointment following the team's unexpected defeat to Cape Verde at the Africa Cup of Nations. The Black Stars crumbled in the dying moments of the game, with the Blue Sharks emerging as 2-1 winners. As a result, Ghana finds itself at the bottom of Group B, making their upcoming clash against Egypt on Thursday a must-win.
We conceded 2 bad goals from our point of view. Cape Verde started better than what we did, but then I think we grew into a good game. I think we didn't allow the disappointment, or we didn't allow ourselves to get too disappointment after the goal that was ruled out from VAR, and I think we grew from that. And we, at one stage, once we scored the goal in the second half, I thought we were very much on the front foot and looking that perhaps we could score a second goal. But I think this is the nature of the game. Sometimes it goes in the momentum goes with us, sometimes it goes with the opposition. But you can't concede the type of goal that we did in the last moments of the game, particularly at this stage, because at that stage you're pushing to get the winner, but at this stage what you can't do is you can't afford to lose the game, and we conceded a very poor goal.
And you see this type of situations, but you know, we lack a lot of experience, and you know, I know we can't say anything, but at the end of the day, if you look at the squad that we have, more than 10 is the first half gone. Yeah. More than 10 is the first half gone. So this type of mistakes will happen, and we need to learn. We need to learn quick, because the AFCON is not waiting for anyone, and you know, it's not easy. It's hard, but we're men, and we need to stand up and face the reality.
Now, JoyNews' Sweetie Aboche caught up with some fans earlier today on their thoughts about the Black Stars setback.
Expectation, they did well, but they were not so aggressive on the match, because to me they came unprepared. Lately, they build up and then they were doing well. The loss is not something that has hit me so much though, because I think we were not lucky on the referee side.
Why? What happened?
Yes, we had about 2 clear penalties that the referee did not allow. I mean, there was a one, I think, somewhere in the first half. I mean, our Rasta guy, I don't know the name well, but he had a ball and the guys held the waist. I mean, it was a clear penalty, but I think our players should have, protest, like the way they disallow our first goal.
Yes, they should make sure we are going for the ball and we are going to win. The decision go
as we are going to lose. So next match, we will our next match. I'm sure and my hope. Thank you.
What do you think the coach should do differently so that next game we ensure that we win this time?
Okay, to me, I think the coach should start with the old guys. Okay, the coach should start with the old guys, and then as he does his changes, then he brings in the new energy to put more pressure, because when we start the game, everybody has energy. Now, when the game progresses, people then, lose energy. So now, use your old guys, and then when you use your old guys, and then the game is progressing, then you bring in the new fresh.
That's your sports. My name is Harun Obarak.
You're welcome to what is happening in the world of entertainment. The name is Ibrahim Ben Bako and Raskuku, who was on Hits FM on Friday on the morning show with Dorian Avio, says that he is for Cheddar. That is Nana Kwame Bediako, who is vying for the presidency on the party, the New Force. But he knows that Mahama is going to win. Well, he said that when Dorian Avio asked him his opinion about who he thinks will win the seats of the presidency come 7th January 2025.
If you look at our system, everything that is going on at the moment, it looks like we have some 4 top people we are looking forward to vote for this December. We have our own Mahama, we have Baumia, we have Alan Chemanti, and then the New Force, which is Cheddar.
Yeah, Cheddar.
What are your thoughts on all these people?
I know this year if Cheddar should stand, he won't win. But I'm for Cheddar.
He won't win?
Yeah, he won't.
Why do you say that?
Yeah, because of 1 or 2, I know. But the next 4 years, he got so many chances. But everything is set and done for a first. So Mahama, everybody knows Mahama is coming. No 2 is about that. Yeah.
So are you for Mahama?
Yeah, I'm not for Mahama. I'm not for anybody. I'm for Cheddar. Yeah, because it's a new face and we are all hoping and willing to see what will happen. Yeah, I'm for the youth. But I know Mahama is taking the 2024 election. That one is for sure. Everybody knows. Yeah.
And that was Raskuku. So, Patrice, who started the Standathon, actually gave up after an hour and a few minutes. And his reason was he infringed on certain things that he believed that was going to disqualify him. Well, Kwame Daze on the morning show says that, see, people should actually know that Ghanaians do not have the time anymore. If you want to do anything thong, yeah, you're on your own. Well, he told us to DJ Slim this morning on the morning show on Daybreak Hits.
You couldn't stand, and you are saying, I want to use the opportunity to thank all those who stood with me. Who stood with you? And also, you should choose something, which is your strength, your forte. If you're not a good singer, don't go and try a sing-a-thon, so that when you lose your voice, you are choked. If you're not a good cook, don't go and try cook-a-thon. If you don't have the endurance, don't go and do something that requires endurance. Choose something which is your strength. Baby, and yes, you better disqualify. Pass it. Now, I think people think that just because Ifwa Santua and Fila got all the attention, you can also do that. There's a guy called ZK Ike Jr., you know him. He interviewed the Standathon guy before he started his attempt. And he said, he asked him if he was expecting people to come in their numbers, as in Ghanaian, just as we did for Fila and Ifwa Santua. He said, oh, yes. If you want to undertake any thorn attempt, please, Ghanaians are now busy. When Ifwa did hers, it was during the Christmas period. People were on holidays. Yeah. Entered into same holiday period when Fila started. You may not get people leave their works, come and stand somewhere and watch you. Into person where you tombia because in conforma measure salute to Emra Masa so ama no kukutina ejanka say and we ama and a menya donation. We are not here for any ton thing. If you do it, if the activity is extraordinary, say something we've not seen before that wows us and we want to come and see and support you, we can do it. But you can't just wake up one day and come and play with our mindset. So if you then we will come and support you.
And that will wrap it off for what is happening in the world of entertainment. I don't know Aisha, if you had anything in mind of doing a thon, please don't look up for Ghanaians to come and support you. What are you so excited about?
Serious?
Yeah, he's very serious.
No.
He was going to do it for 3 days, right? Stand for 3 days. But he did for 1 hour and some minutes, and he gave
My
up.
goodness, he's such a joke.
We are waiting for him to communicate exactly what the infringement he had that made him decide that he will go on a research and come back again.
Anyway, wish him luck. Thank you for bringing us show. And that's how we wrap up the bulletin this afternoon. Log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. To enjoy the rest of our programs.